Hello, friends, and welcome to another solo episode. Just so that you know, me and my partner just got a cat. His name is Karma. He is currently wandering around the apartment screaming. So I just wanted to let you know, if you can hear a cat in the background, I do apologize. I hope it's not too distracting, but we've only had him for about a week, so he hasn't quite adjusted to the schedule of when I am hiding in the closet to make episodes or not. Because that would imply that I actually had a schedule. LOL. Yeah, so this is the last episode of Season 1 before the holidays, when we will come back and begin the guest revenge rounds. Hopefully also we can get a couple of new guests in. And today I thought I would tell you some interesting facts about a small town in southwest Michigan, my hometown, the small, quaint, beautiful Mendon, Michigan. So welcome to Fun Facts with the Village of Mendon. Though the area surrounding the St. Joseph River has been settled by the French pioneers from both Quebec and France, these settlers would trade with the indigenous Potawatomi and other Algonquin-speaking tribes in the area. According to the whitewashed history that we are taught, the French settlers in the area treated the indigenous folks kindly. Take this with a grain of salt, though, as, again, 5th grade history is more of American historical fan fiction rather than containing any kind of accuracy. After the U.S. was founded and had taken possession of the Michigan territory, most likely by force, the English settlers began to colonize the area and divided it into counties and further into townships. The township of Wakeman was founded in 1831. However, there was some dissatisfaction with the name from the residents, so the town name was eventually changed to Puddleburg. However, shortly after the name change, the Catholic Church began its search for a location for their college to be named Notre Dame. So the town's residents sought a more respectable name in hopes to win the bids for the college. A few of the residents, being from small towns in New York and Missouri, proposed the names of their towns, Mendon. And so Mendon it was. Reports vary widely as to why Notre Dame didn't choose Mendon, but one of my favorites, and this one is still true to this day, the Mendon area has always been surrounded by very damp land, and been very damp in weather, whether that's because of the St. Joseph River and tributaries, or because of swamps, marshes, and bogs that surround the area. Due to this general wetness, Mendon has always had a problem with mosquitoes. And when the representatives of the church visited the town, the largest complaint they walked away with was that the mosquitoes would sometimes hang so thick in the air that it was like a biblical plague. And in some parts of town, particularly in the Mendon Elementary Conservation Forest, an area of low wetland near the elementary school, the mosquitoes can still get to be like a thick fog to this very day. Mendon has had not one, but 2 large fires. Not much is known about the first one, and it did not appear to damage much other than the small town's ego. The second fire, however, took place in 1916. October 4th, 1916, to be specific. It was a brisk but fair autumn morning, not a cloud in the sky, and a perfect day for a harvest festival to take place. As a matter of fact, that is exactly the very thing that was happening. The Kalamazoo Fair. More than 400 people from the small town planned to attend, especially to see the human fly climb the tallest building in the city at that time. Little did they know that this was the very action that would spell disaster for the town. Shortly after midday, as the lunchtime lull began to set in, Many of the shop owners had left their teenaged apprentices and clerks in charge of the store while they went to the fair. This included the butcher. While rendering some lard in a pot, the pot boiled over and the thick fat caught on flame. In his excitement, the young apprentice accidentally tipped over the pot, causing what was a small grease fire to quickly spread to a large one. This large fire caught the building fire, and luckily for the other merchants, the fire was slow-moving, and they were able to get themselves and some stock out as it spread through the town, specifically through the south side of downtown. The barber remarked how they were able to save all the barber chairs and even the pool table the men in town were fond of playing. Once the fire had worked its way across the few blocks of downtown, the southern side, the southwestern brisk wind picked up and hurled embers and flames across the street to the north side, where the fire made short work of spreading through the north side of downtown, even affecting 3 residences. What made it all the worse is that the volunteer fire department's hand-pumped paddy wagon was a little too heavy for the riverbank's sharp incline, and very quickly went from being a useful tool at the bottom of to being at the bottom of the river. To adjust for inflation, $10 million of damage were done, and the town returned home devastated. Importantly, despite this being the largest fire in the history of the whole county, no one was harmed. Not a single life was lost due to the blaze, and even reports of minor burns on the butcher's clerk were not reported. The only injury from the incident came a few nights later when a looter was trying to profit off the disaster, fell through the weakened floorboards of an establishment, spraining his ankle. Mendon is also one of the nearly 1,700 communities with a Carnegie Library, or Carnegie if you're from Pennsylvania. It is also one of the smallest communities to have one, coming in at a population of about 900 and a size of about 1.02 square miles. The library itself ranks among the smallest of the libraries funded by the Carnegie Library Fund, coming in at a mere 1,800 square foot. The library itself began in the house of the first librarian, with donations of books from the Ladies' Library Society. This was, of course, after a town meeting in 1889. Eventually, the library would outgrow its first librarian, Nettie Bennett, house, and it would find itself in various locations around the main streets downtown area. In 1905, H.L. McClellan wrote to the Carnegie Library Fund, and they agreed to fund $10,000 towards a new library. It was built on the corner of Burr Oak Street and Main. The library still remains in the original building to this day. Published in 1995, The Library is a fictionalized children's book version of this tale of the library and the first librarian. It is by local author and illustrator couple Sarah Stewart and David Small. This brings us to the next fact: living famous Mendonites. Sarah Stewart, author of such books as The Gardener, The Money Tree, and This Book of Mine, resides in Mendon with her husband David Small, the illustrator of all of her books. David also has written and illustrated nearly 40 books, including Emma Jean's Antlers, George Washington's Cows, The Mouse and His Child, and the autobiographical Stitches. Although David enjoys his solitude, Sarah can often be seen talking about town and chatting with neighbors, and even helping out at the farmer's market, which she, along with the master gardeners, founded. The current managing director of the Pro 14 Glasgow Warriors rugby team, Nathan Bombries, is from Mendon. Mendon also has a lot of arts and culture, despite being such a small town. One of the most important and quickly culturally relevant shows for Mendon is the Mendon Kiwanis Showboat, which began as a minstrel show in 1956. The Mendon Showboat, again, has become a cultural staple, with its focus on local music, talent, and comedy. What's not to love? It's also the largest fundraiser for the local Mendon Kiwanis Club. In 2017, it raised nearly 10,000 USD, much of which stayed local and went to the funding food programs and scholarships for the kids in the town of Mendon. On the first full weekend of every November, except 2006, when the 50th anniversary show was canceled due to construction on the auditorium, and 2020, when we made the decision to cancel the show due to COVID-19. At the elementary auditorium, this fundraiser takes place. Each year, it brings together a chorus of local talent to perform a variety show. For the first 50 years of its existence, the show's format and theme remained largely unchanged. It used to be based on turn-of-the-century Mississippi River steamboat shows and the musical Showboat, written by Oscar Hammerstein II. The 51st show began what would begin a new era for the show, one where the steamboat theme and minstrel show format would largely vanish. And in most recent 14 years of the show, it has taken on a theme of the year style, with the last few of those years being Vaudway in 2017. The Showboat chorus finds themselves enchanted by an evil wizard forced into performing the music of Broadway and the sketch comedy of vaudeville. Smile, in 2018, a gang of characters, loosely based on the Muppets, led by the charismatic Kermit T. Toad, came into the town of Mendon to remind the adults to smile, featuring songs and skits about happiness. Let's Fake a Deal in 2019. A group of Ed Sullivan fanatics finds themselves participating in a fast-paced game show for the grand prize of $1 million. Music all about the games we play and sketches written based on your favorite TV game shows. Well, friends, that's really all I have to say for now on the town of Mendon. Stay well, be good, do good, and we'll see you back here in January or February for the beginning of season 2. Please check out our Instagram page where I will post up pictures of Karma, and I will also post them on our Facebook page. Please donate to our Patreon. I know it's cliched, but it's like the old PBS, we couldn't do it without support from viewers like you. And I don't want to, turn this into a job. I have a day job. But, you know what? If I end up getting enough Patreon folks to want me to keep doing this, that'd be great. Right now, we have the one patron, and I am very thankful for you, Leslie. Leslie is a good friend of mine, and I'm really thankful for her for supporting this show. So thank you very much, Leslie, and thank you everyone who shares the show. I know money is hard, but share our show with your friends. And if you want to be on the show, shoot me an email at funfactswith@gmail.com. And I can definitely get some stuff pulled up and schedule a time to have you on the show as our guest. So yeah, definitely come along, and I will do my best to keep doing this show. I have some interesting projects that I'm working on that I will keep you guys informed with. And other than that, I will see you guys next January. Have a good holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate. And if you drink over the holidays, have a nice glass for me. Other than that, I'll see you later. This show is recorded, produced, directed, and edited by Connor J. Cassidy, with music by Sounds Like Sanders. Our podcast is hosted on podserve.fm, and our music was found via soundstripe.com. Please follow us on all social media at Fun Facts With, and if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, have a nice day.